Remember those iconic razor-sharp 90-degree corners that made the Galaxy Note and earlier Ultra phones instantly recognizable? Those industrial squared-off edges are officially gone. With the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra, Samsung is rewriting the design rulebook, and this time, the changes are big enough to reshape the entire identity of the Ultra lineup. In this video, we're breaking down everything you need to know about the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra. The new rounded design, the redesigned S Pen, major camera changes, the Exynos 2600 chipset, charging upgrades, privacy features, AI improvements, and even what it all means for price and availability. So if you're thinking about upgrading to the Galaxy S26 series, make sure you watch till the end. Let's start with the design, because that's where Samsung is making its boldest move. The Note style. 90-degree corners are gone. Instead of that sharp, boxy silhouette, the Galaxy S26 Ultra leans fully into smooth, rounded edges. Think less metal tool and more polished river stone. The Galaxy S25 Ultra started this transition, but the S26 Ultra takes it a step further and completely redefines the overall shape. This isn't just a small cosmetic adjustment. For over a decade, that squared-off frame has been the visual signature of the Note and Ultra line. The S26 Ultra breaks away from that legacy with a softer, more organic geometry. And because the shape has changed so dramatically, Samsung had to redesign one of its most iconic accessories for the first time in history. The S Pen. The S Pen has been completely reworked to match the new curved frame. The very tip of the S Pen is now shaved down and reshaped, so it sits perfectly flush against the rounded body of the Galaxy S26 Ultra. When you dock it, it doesn't feel like a flat pen sliding into a flat wall anymore. It's sculpted to hug the curve of the device. Even the storage mechanism is different. The S Pen slot has been pushed right to the outer edge of the phone, removing that tiny internal gap we're used to seeing on previous Ultra models. Because of this, the S Pen opening at the bottom is now more exposed and visible from two angles. Longtime Note and Ultra users will notice this immediately the first time they flip the phone and look at the bottom frame. It's a small detail, but it perfectly shows how much the overall geometry has changed. Now, flip the Galaxy S26 Ultra over, and you'll see another big visual shift. The camera design. The camera bump on the S26 Ultra has been redesigned with a more deliberate layer. Look, the lenses themselves are larger compared to the previous generation. And Samsung is bringing back the premium-looking metal rings around 3 of the 4 primary sensors. That's a notable change after the more understated plastic rings used on the Galaxy S25 series. Those large circular modules house Samsung's specialized sensors, including units tailored for time-of-flight depth mapping and advanced telephoto zoom. The camera island itself uses a dual-layer construction, a main bump that rises from the back, and then the individual lens rings sitting on top. The camera hump measures about 4.5 millimeters, while the main body of the phone comes in at a sleek 7.9. At the thickest point right at the camera, the total thickness hits 12.4 millimeters. This tiered layer camera design is likely to become a visual signature of Samsung's top-end phones for the next few years. Larger lenses, more defined rings, and a smoother overall back with a controlled, deliberate camera island rather than a chaotic cluster of lenses. Under the hood, the Galaxy S26 series is all about Exynos making a serious comeback. According to recent leaks from case maker Duxdusis and multiple benchmark listings, the Exynos 2600 is expected to be one of the headline features of the Galaxy S26 lineup. Built on a cutting-edge 2 nanometers process, the Exynos 2600 is on track to become the world's first commercially available 2 nanometers mobile chipset, debuting initially in the South Korean variants of the Galaxy S26 and Galaxy S26 Plus. What about Europe and other international markets? That's where things get interesting. A Samsung smartphone with the model number SMS942B has appeared in the Geekbench database, and it's widely believed to be an international Galaxy S26 variant. The benchmark reveals a 10-core SoC paired with Samsung's Exynos 960 GPU, which points very clearly to the Exynos 2600 platform, unlike earlier leaks that focus purely on CPU performance. This newer test centers on Vulkan and OpenCL GPU benchmarks. Early results show the Exynos 960 coming surprisingly close to Qualcomm's Adreno 840 GPU, found in the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 powering phones like the OnePlus 15 and other 2026 Android flagships. In Vulkan, the Exynos 960 is already hitting around 88% of the Adreno 840's performance, and OpenCL, it's reaching just under 80%. And these numbers are from early test units before final software tuning. Samsung is reportedly confident that further optimizations will close the gap even more by launch, especially with better drivers, thermal management, and GPU scheduling. Gamers have every reason to remain cautious because past Exynos chips have struggled with sustained performance and heat buildup. But Samsung is emphasizing efficiency and thermals this time, including measures like a dedicated blocker directly on the chip and a revamped cooling system. If the final Galaxy S26 Ultra can maintain these early GPU numbers under real-world, long-session gaming, Exynos might finally be ready to stand toe-to-toe with Snapdragon again. Now let's talk about the part everyone always cares about. The cameras. The Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra's camera setup is shaping up to be an evolution rather than a complete overhaul, but with some very strategic changes. At the core, Samsung is expected to stick with the 200MP ISOCELL HP2 primary sensor, the same flagship-level sensor used in the previous generation. This decision has sparked a mix of anticipation and criticism. On one side, fans wanted a brand new, larger main sensor or something radically different. On the other side, the HP2 is already a very capable sensor, and Samsung seems more focused on refining image processing, HDR, and zoom behavior rather than chasing bigger numbers on a spec sheet. The Ultra's rumored camera breakdown looks like this: a 200MP ISOCELL HP2 main camera, a 50MP ultra-wide lens, a 50MP 5x periscope telephoto lens, a 3x telephoto that may move from 10MP to 12MP, with a strong focus on improved HDR. The most controversial move is Samsung's clear prioritization of the 5x zoom focal length over the more extreme 10x that many power users loved on older Ultras. The logic is simple but bold. The majority of users rely more on mid-range zoom between 2x and 5x than on 10x and beyond. By optimizing for 5x, Samsung can deliver sharper, more consistent photos at the zoom level people actually use every day, rather than chasing impressive but niche 10x shots. As one observer put it, sacrificing some extreme 10x quality for a much better and more common 5x zoom is a trade-off most users will actually feel. It's a classic Samsung move, less about spec sheet bragging, more about day-to-day usability, at least on paper. Looking even further ahead, leaks suggest that the Galaxy S27 Ultra, expected sometime in early 2027, will finally introduce the ISOCELL HP6 sensor. Instead of going dramatically larger in size, this sensor is rumored to focus on silicon-level upgrades. Think improved on-sensor HDR circuitry and smarter pixel architecture, rather than just blowing up the physical dimensions.